Hi, this is Aaron Masliansky, and you're about to listen to the next episode of Inside the Skev. This week, we're talking with the leaders of the YWCA Evanston North Shore. We have a really good conversation about what they do as an organization, their upcoming fundraiser, the Race Against Hate, and just learning about some great things that they help with in the community. Also, just a reminder, I am a real estate agent over at Dreamtown Realty in Evanston. So if you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give me a call. Go to aaronmasliansky.com. Thank you. Welcome to Inside the Skev, and I'm your host, Aaron Masliansky. Today we're here with several members of the YWCA in Evanston North Shore, and we're here to talk with them about what the YWCA does. We're going to talk about the Race Against Hate that's coming up, and really just learn about this great advocate for the neighborhood. So everyone, thanks for coming on. Today we've got Karen Singer, who's the director of the YWCA. We're here with Tiffany McDowell, who's here from the Equity Institute for the YWCA. And we also have Trimmy Stamel, who's Director of Corporate Relations, but also heavily involved with the Race Against Hate. So everyone, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Karen, if you could tell us a little bit about what is the YWCA North Shore, how did it start, where are you located?
Okay, well, we go back decades and decades, about 8 of them, and we've been in the community since 1931. We have always worked on issues that focus on women, gender, and race. And we currently are located at the corner of Ridge and Church Street, and we've been in that location since 1970. So our work really, as I say, is long and deep in the Evanston North Shore communities. First and foremost, we're a social justice issue organization, and everything that we do really focuses on gender and racial equity. We have 4 main pillars of our work, and that is freedom from violence, economic advancement for women and girls, racial and gender equity, and access and opportunity for aquatics access and opportunity.
And why aquatics, by the way?
Good question.
Yeah.
So I think what most people do not know is that YWCA's started aquatics programs because women first did not have access to learning how to swim. So without access, they lacked the opportunity to really learn a life-saving skill. And people of color also lacked access and opportunity because of their race. So it really is a gender and racial equity issue for us. And so YWCA started pools to allow access and opportunity for women and people of color.
That's great, and you have a lot of programming to the public for the pool access still, correct?
Yes, we have really one of our biggest focuses in aquatics is really teaching all kids how to learn to swim and be safe in the water. So to that end, we do a lot of outreach. We have a scholarship fund so that income is not a barrier. And we have a couple of hundred kids that have full or partial scholarships. So that really is our mission. And we work with all second graders in the district to bring them into the pool. And we have a great partnership with some other organizations that really help us fulfill that mission.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, my kids are in District 65, and my son was in second grade last year, so I know he was doing the swimming program.
Great.
So I think it's great. Everyone should, know how to swim and be able to. And so the YWCA though is that related at all to the YMCA or
no? Another good question. The YMCA and the YWCA have never had a formal relationship. They are two totally distinct organizations. Many communities have a YMCA and a YWCA,
Right.
and they work in partnership. But the YWCA has always been separate and never part of the YMCA. Many people think that the YWCA is the women's version of the YMCA,
Right.
which is not true. The YWCA has a very unique social justice activist focus and always has since its founding in this country in the 1850s, and it has excuse me, it has always worked on issues of women's empowerment and civil rights and racial justice.
Mm-hmm. And Tiffany, is that a lot of what you work on? Tell us about a little bit of what you do.
Sure. So, as Karen said, the YWCA has been working since the beginning on issues of racial and gender justice. And specifically, a little over 10 years ago, YWCA partnered with other organizations in Evanston to look at where the community was in terms of race, racial justice, social justice, and then how can we move forward. And so at that time, the partners found that there was a need for someone to organize everyone and start the groundwork for us to, as a community, to start to address these issues. And since eliminating racism is a part of YWCA's mission, we took that on. So we've been doing racial justice workshops and trainings and just really helping people to hold space for conversations around race and equity and what that means. And so last year, through the leadership of our team, I decided to launch an Equity Institute. So we've been working this past year to shift people from educating themselves to preparing for action and leadership around shifting power and privilege and making sure that all of our whole community have access to the things that we think are necessary for well-being.
So do you go out to corporations and lead workshops, or do people come into the YWCA for what you are doing?
That's both, actually.
Okay.
So we as I said, we started doing racial justice workshops and trainings at our site, which you can still participate in. They're found on our website. Our schedule is on our website. And then now we've shifted more into working with organizations, corporations, school districts. We're working with the city of Evanston, the village of Skokie, to look at internal practices. So training staff, training leaders to think about what equity means, and then how do you achieve it, and then how do we work together to engage community residents to be a part of the process.
And, I had Lauren Grossman on from Across the Table. Does her programming work with what you guys do as well?
Do you know Lauren? I don't know if
we've
you've
met,
yet.
but we've intersected before, but that's something we do want to have a deeper partnership in.
Yeah, I think what Lauren is doing is great. What she's really trying to do is be a catalyst for conversation and for reflection and for people going on a personal journey.
Right.
And so to that end, the conversation and the ability, the interpersonal relationship building is critical. I think that is a place that we started many years ago in our conversations in the community. And I think when Tiffany spoke about the assessment we did, that was about 12 or 13 years ago. And what that launched for us was the start of our racial justice work. And over the years, that has grown deeper and deeper, and we are the only community organization doing this kind of work. Now, there are a lot of people who are doing the work. The school is doing the work, a lot of institutions and a lot of people who are doing racial equity work at this point. But I think what we're able to do is bring the work to a different level for a cost that is affordable, for organizations and institutions that really want to engage deeper in making their institutions more equitable and inclusive.
Right.
And we launched the Equity Institute and are really fortunate to have Tiffany really growing the work because we wanted to take it to the next level, which is the level Tiffany talked about, which is action.
Right.
And really, we still need the conversations because everyone is entering this journey at a different place. And some people really need to engage in that personal journey. Some are further along in the journey. That always has to continue. But we also have to take the next step to getting to really making change and transforming our communities. And that has to happen at an institutional, more systemic level.
Do you find that Evanston is a place that is very open to this and, accepting and participatory?
I would say yes. I think we've been pleasantly surprised by how many people and the different types of organizations that have been interested in joining with us. And like Karen said, the conversations are happening, so we want to be a resource and a hub for people to, learn models and approaches that they can take and use to further their work. Mm-hmm. And so the conversations have been happening for years, so we want to be able to help people move to the next step. And with so many partners in place, I think that's only a matter of time before we get there.
Right.
I would also add, I think Evanston takes great pride in the diversity of its community, and it is a diverse community, but because it is diverse does not necessarily mean that it is actively engaged in making transformation in the equity space.
Sure.
So we can't just say, yes, we're diverse, so, we're good. We need to work as hard to really make the changes that we need to change and not get complacent because we visually look diverse. Because we know that our institutions and may not be as equitable as they can be. I think what's different in Evanston is I do believe there is a profound commitment to doing this work.
Right.
But it has to be done at a level where you don't just go to, one training and check it off the box or just show up for an event or whatever the one-off thing is, right? You really have to engage in the work that has to be done and make a commitment over time to your own personal journey as well as to taking action.
Yeah. And Trimmy, would you say that the Race Against Hate is the biggest way to get the word out about what the YWCA is doing? Is that the biggest public event? And
it's definitely our biggest public event.
Yeah.
And it is certainly a wonderful marketing tool and more messaging tool.
Right.
It's also has such deep emotional connection for this community.
Yeah.
And we were discussing, it's been 21 years since Ricky was murdered.
It's crazy.
In Skokie, Evanston. And it's been a long time. So the actual firsthand memories are starting to fade. It was but I think that as long as we keep that story alive, it fights against that complacency that it couldn't happen here. Evanston is more evolved than that because we had ourselves shocked once before, and it could easily happen again unless we have these conversations and do the work.
Right. I mean, I was a camp counselor at that time. I was a teenager at Central Park in Skokie, which is in Skevinston. Mm-hmm. And the Kelly and Ricky Jr. were my campers in different years, and I babysat for them, And I grew up not too far from there, and then even the other shooting that took place in West Rogers Park during that whole episode, it was right by where the high school I went to it was located, Ida Crown. So it definitely personally, touched me, and I think that it's we definitely need to keep that alive because it can happen, and we need to eliminate the hate for sure.
And we see it happening all throughout our country. And
even more so.
No community is immune from it.
It was a stunning national news event 21 years ago, and sadly, I'm not sure if the same thing happened today, if it would because it isn't what didn't happen inside a school, if it would receive the same coverage. We've gotten frighteningly used to these things, and I think it's really important that we remember what happened.
Yeah, and I also want to point out, because the YWCA Evanston North Shore's footprint is much bigger than Evanston.
Yeah.
So we really span and reach into 16 communities, all the way to Lake Cook Road on the north and 294 on the west. So really our challenge is to certainly do the work in Evanston, but we have got to extend what we're doing into other communities. And Tiffany is already doing some of that in communities that aren't as diverse, frankly,
Sure.
as Evanston.
And that's another powerful tool of the race, too, because we do draw from Chicago across the North Shore. And when they're there, as you know, Sherilyn Birdsong's always there with her family, and it's an opportunity for important messaging. And runners always tell us they like this race so much because it's not just a 5K or a 10K or a walk. It has some purpose.
Oh, absolutely. How many people typically sign up for it?
About 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when is it taking place?
June 16th?
Our race director knows it so well, she forgot
I get
it.
confused because each year it slides one year. It's Sunday, June 16th. It is Father's Day morning, as always.
Sorry.
We start at 7:30 in the morning. That's when the first race begins, and that's the 10K. And then the 5K and the walk will start right after that at about 7:50.
Okay.
So 7:30 for the 10K, 7:50 for the 5K and the walk. But make sure to come earlier than that to find parking.
Yeah. And, I went last year and I actually rode my bike over there. So that's maybe a good way to avoid the parking
great
issue.
way.
Yes. And, I just definitely want to mention that the brokerage I work for, Dreamtown Realty, is one of the sponsors. So there's a lot of local Evanston companies that set up shop, and they have some nice giveaways and things like that. And I remember in particular, Cahill's got the oranges.
Yeah,
and
the
and
bathtub.
towels. Yeah, they really they won that one. I just have to say. So some of the other things that the YWCA does, though, I mean, freedom from violence and things like that. So what are some of the things that you do to help prevent violence?
So actually, our domestic violence program is our longest standing and our largest program. And it really began in the early 80s when women were just starting to reach out because of the violence in their homes, and they needed to get out of their homes.
Right.
So we were running some housing for women in the community, and we started to provide that housing for women who were fleeing violence. And over a couple of years, we actually developed a full-fledged program to provide housing for 32 women and children and the support they needed around crisis intervention and beginning the healing process from the violence. That program has grown to be the only comprehensive domestic violence program in the Northeast Chicagoland area, and we directly serve over 800 women and children. We have a 24/7 crisis line. We have an emergency shelter. We have a community-based counseling program. We have a legal advocacy program at the Skokie Courthouse, and we have longer-term housing and support for survivors of domestic violence. And our violence prevention work has grown up alongside all those direct services, and we reach close to 2,000 youth in our community, elementary through high school, really trying to prevent violence from happening by educating and creating awareness around what healthy relationships look like. And we have expanded that work now to also include racial equity curriculum. So really, it is all about how people treat one another, right? And the power inequities, and getting to kids young and helping them establish what's right, what's wrong, what's healthy, what's not, and teaching them that we're just people. We're all just people that need to be treated with respect and dignity. So that work is really expanding greatly throughout our geographic area. We are also in college campuses working on campus dating violence. We've worked with Northwestern, we've worked with Loyola, so doing a lot of the violence prevention work. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. I think that's important. And I think what's also important is to show that, Evanston and the North Shore, we have these institutions where we deal with these problems. It happens in any community. And I think some people, don't want to admit to it or have the resources to be able to help with that. What are some of the things that what's everyone's vision for the future of the YWCA North Shore?
Ooh, that's a big question, but a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tackle the big picture.
Okay.
I'll leave everyone else to talk about their vision. But I think our vision is, and always has been, really creating gender and racial equity. And so to that end, I think being a thought leader, being a convener, being a catalyst for change, and being a hub for conversations, certainly, but actual work and development of strategies that are going to help us get there. And I think there's a wide range of partners that we need to be in partnership with and collaborate with, so that we really are looking at our communities with a holistic lens, in creating, as Tiffany said, well-being and justice for everyone in those communities. We are embarking on a very ambitious campus expansion project that will help us create the physical space to be that convener and that catalyst region-wide for the issues that we care so deeply about. And we're very excited about that.
Is there any plan to expand to have some satellite offices throughout the region that you cover?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I have learned never to say never.
Okay. And just to clarify, I mean, I know it's called the YWCA, but you are open to everybody, no matter religion and anything.
Yes, that's a really good point. The YWCA no longer spells out what those letters once stood for.
Right.
We are YWCA, and while historically our roots have been, it was the Young Women's Christian Association, but even when it called itself that, it recognized that our strength came from the diversity, and that was our power, and it was strengthened by that diversity. And so it has and always, it certainly now continues into the future this way, but it has always been a place that brought together women from all different backgrounds, and that's what has made it so powerful and strong. Today is a different day than it was in the 1850s.
Of course.
And I think we have come a long way, and we were a very, very active part of the civil rights movement. And we were actually one of the first organizations that had women of color, Native American women, as part of its leadership. And so I think it's with pride that we carry on that very basic commitment into the future in a whole new way.
And I know we talked about at the beginning how your own organization, but you're like each YWCA is their own independent YWCA, right?
Correct.
You're not part of.
We are part of a mama ship,
Okay.
which is the YWCA USA, and that is really the as I say, the mama ship of about 200 some associations that are all independent, separately funded with their own boards of directors, and they develop their own programs in response to the local context and community need. We all have separate funding streams. So to that end, yes, we're autonomous, but we all march to the same drummer, which is eliminating racism and empowering women.
Right. And Trimmy, you work with a lot of corporations.
Mm-hmm.
What's your main goal there? What do you do?
To bring them closer to our work. We do it in a variety of ways. We either work with corporate groups or business groups that want to do volunteer activities. We will partner with them on special projects. We also look to them for grant funding if possible. And we also really rely and count on sponsorship of our major events. The race, for example, has over 60 sponsors at varying different levels, everything from $250 up to $20,000 this year. And it really is a partnership. We work with them to make sure that their people are engaged if they want them to be, and how we can get their team at the race feeling unified and part of the group and part of the whole.
Sure.
And it's a really fun that's a really fun aspect of my job.
Yeah. And is everyone going to be at the race, I assume?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
At 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
Are you coming this year?
Yeah. I'm signed up.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
ready to go.
You're
You're
My
running
whole family.
Yeah, good.
My son has been hounding me the whole year about doing the 5K. He didn't want to do the kids race.
Okay.
So
How old is he?
he's 9.
Uh-huh.
So I said, okay. And one of his friends is going to run with him. My wife's going to run. I'm going to run. And then our daughter, she's 6, and I signed her up for the kids race. I think 5K might be a little tough. But we're excited to be part of it. And, last year I saw a lot of people I knew out there, and hopefully, people listening to this will also get the motivation to come and run. And so what if it's early? You get a good start to the day, and it's a great day to be
Justify
there.
the big Father's Day brunch. afterwards.
Exactly. Yes. And where should people sign up? What's your website and everything else that people should go to?
I think they should just go to our normal YWCA website, which will also inform you more about who we are. And that is YWCA-ENS.org.
And you guys are also on social media. And where can people find you? Just go on the website and then click the links to follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a pleasure having everybody on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You're
It's
welcome.
really fun to talk about our work.
Well, you do great work, and it's a treasure to the community. And I think that everyone should support what you're doing, and I think it just helps. We've got to end this hate. We got to make people get along. It's like kindergarten,
Yeah, right.
but
Right.
it's a lot bigger deal than that. I thank you so much for your time, and everyone, please subscribe to the podcast and sign up for the Race Against Hate. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Hi, Thanks so much for listening to this latest episode of Inside the Skev. Hope you enjoyed it. And just a reminder, if you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the Chicagoland area, specifically in Skokie or Evanston or Skevinston, go to my website at aaronmasliansky.com or feel free to reach out to me at aaron@skevinston.com. And don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends about it. Thanks so much.